Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, we're taking a look at Highest to Lowest. The new Spike Lee joint is out and not in many theaters. I'm looking forward to telling you why. We have seen it. We went and saw it in the theater. It's good. It's good. It maybe got some problems that I think people are maybe being a little soft on. So stick around for the review. We're also going to take a look at the first couple episodes of Alien Earth over on Hulu. This is that new Alien TV series, right? From Fargo director Noah Hawley, and he did Legion over for FX. Now he's doing Alien Earth on Hulu with Ridley Scott. We took a look at the first couple episodes. They're out now. Quite cinematic. Looking forward to talking about it over in our TV corner. We're going to take a look at some trailers, some up-and-comers, mostly Marty Supreme and got the new Oz Perkins trailers out for his new horror feature. Also new Ed Berger trailers out for his project over on Netflix with Colin Farrell. Stick around for that. Before we get to all of it, we talk about the news. I'm going to be honest, it's a light news week this week. Not a lot going on, actually. We got a story from the box office. And I think maybe this is reflective of what's coming at the movies, actually, before we dip into it. I was just reading about how there's not a lot coming out in the next 3 months as far as big blockbusters go for theaters, and some of them are a little concerned that they might not be filling out seats like they were in the summer. Definitely lots of movies coming, but lots of awards stuff, right? Lots of bold cinema stuff. So if you're a fan of the show, you're probably looking forward to some unique indie features that are going to be at the movies. But if you're like a mainstream blockbuster goer, you're probably not going back till the holidays, and it's got some folks worried. And I think this new Sydney Sweeney movie might be a kind of early indicator of that. What do you know about it, Andy?
Well, we're having a good August. The summer movie going season largely ends at the end of July, but we've had a couple of good weeks here in August. Weapons continue to stay on top with another 25 million. It's made 150 million worldwide. That's a hit, another hit for Warner Brothers. I read that they have had 7 films open over $40 million and 7 number ones, which is like a historical run for them. They're on a heater right now, and they better live it up, because for all the highs there are in Hollywood, there's lows as well. Freakier Friday also doing very strong numbers with another 14.5 million over the weekend and 86 million worldwide. That continues to do good business. These are both mid-budget films, and again, we've been saying you got to get those budgets lower and really hype up some of your properties, and you can get in the profit area. Newcomer Nobody 2 underperformed a little bit with just 9.2 million, 14 million worldwide, but I can't remember if it's Universal or Paramount, but they're not too worried. It'll go to VOD in a few weeks, which apparently they're like the strategy. They've kind of mastered the VOD strategy of exactly when to pull things, and so they're not too worried about that. The Fantastic Four First Steps came in. It's still well short of the 500 million mark. It was hoping to get 468 million worldwide, 8.8 over the weekend domestically. The Bad Guys 2 rounded out the top 5 with 7.5 million, 117 million worldwide. I think that's pretty good for that property. And then way down in 16th place was Americana with just $500,000 per theater. Or not per theater, total. This was a Sydney Sweeney movie that we talked about a few months ago. And actually, this movie premiered 2 years ago at South by Southwest. And so it's been just sitting on a shelf for a while. And it seems like they just needed a place to dump it. And so that's been now. There hasn't really been any promotion or much advertising for it. We talked about the trailer a little while ago. Also stars Paul Walter Hauser and some sort of Coen Brothers-esque crime something or other. We might review it later, but that's way down the list. But yeah, there's not any big movies coming out for the next like 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, there was a little bit of political buzz regarding Sydney Sweeney's Americana. Some folks were saying that its poor performance is related to her American Eagle ad that was catching headlines a couple weeks ago. That's just entirely untrue. Like, this movie has had a god-awful marketing campaign. I saw one trailer for it once. I can't even tell you what movie it was in front of. Otherwise, like, I have not seen it. I have not seen really ads for it online. Maybe I'm just not a target audience, but like, I go see indie movies. You know what I mean? How am I not the target audience for this thing? Like, it just has not gotten, I think, like the marketing push that it probably needed. It's a smaller director. It's an indie feature. And like Andy said, it's kind of been sitting on a shelf for a couple of years. So clearly if it had gas, it would have come out sooner. Like, I don't know if they just couldn't afford it or whatever, but anybody who says, oh, it's because of the American Eagle thing and it's political. No, it's not. That's dumb and not true. Otherwise, I did want to mention Superman is out on digital now and is coming to physical media shortly. And it's a weird move. I've seen people on Twitter criticizing DC and Warner Brothers for putting it out on digital already because it seemed like it was still doing pretty well at the box office. And that's true. I think it is a weird move. I think it was doing good. And I think, people wanted to see it continue to do well. But like James Gunn had tweeted that it has something to do with the new season of Peacemaker coming out, which is actually something we're talking about a little later in the show. I forgot to mention Andy did a rewatch of Peacemaker. So stick around for that. I do want to talk Peacemaker towards the end of this. I don't want to talk more DC, but regarding that, I guess, Andy, are you looking forward to picking that up? Are you getting Superman or I don't know.
Absolutely.
But, I guess what I wanted to ask was how do you think it's done in regards to Fantastic Four? And I just wanted to dunk on them a minute because, we got the time.
Well,
like I said, slow news this week.
Well, like I said last week, everyone initially said, oh, Superman should have moved, gotten out of the way of the MCU and Fantastic Four. And then it's been the exact opposite. Now people are saying, well, Fantastic Four should have gone to a more wide open area. Maybe it should have opened in September or something. It's just fallen short. It's shown that the core fans go opening weekend, but then larger general audiences just aren't as interested in it. It's a big worry for Fantastic Four. And man, I don't know how this Doomsday movie's gonna shape up. I'm sure the next Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day, they are showing so many behind the set photos, and they're like professional 4K photos. And I was like, we never get this. They usually release or quote unquote leak like shaky, like 12 megapixel or like 1080p or 480p fuzzy photos, and all the studios do this, and it's all totally done by them. It's not really a set leak. But now that they're giving us these really like high res edited photos, and I was like, they're really trying to drum up a lot of hype for it, which I think it's going to do. But yeah, the Fantastic Four is really it's underperformed for sure for what they wanted. And also about Superman going to digital so soon, there's a cutoff where you're going to start making more money off the digital sales and rentals than in the theater. And I don't know, a Hollywood accountant would be able to tell you exactly where that number is or about, but 45 days in theaters is pretty good. It could continue to make some money, but it's probably going to make more money off the digital rentals and sales now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Fantastic Four is kind of a bomb for Marvel. I mean, it's fine, but like barely getting over 500 million is low. That's on the low estimate of where people thought it was going to be. Not to mention, this is coming off of the back of Thunderbolts and Captain America. It's like for Marvel, 2025 is not a great year. And that's not great because the next year is supposed to be the big year, right? Like things are supposed to get real hot. So we'll see. I'm sure they're doing the right thing with Spider-Man and getting photos out early. It's like they hired TMZ, like come promote our movie for us, right? Like just put out every set photo you can, get a photo of Tom Holland's junk, zoom in, look it, crop it. It's awesome. So yeah, it's been good. We got to talk about highest to lowest. This is the new Spike Lee movie. I'm going to be taking the summary on it. So please excuse any odd delivery. The movie is highest to lowest. So, highest to lowest is the new Spike Lee film, Spike Lee joint, as he lovingly refers to him, following Black Klansman and Defy Bloods. Highest to lowest is Spike Lee's fifth collaboration with Denzel Washington. It is a remake of an Akira Kurosawa film, High and Low. Came out in the 1960s. It is kind of a special movie, a bit of a love letter to New York from Spike Lee, who infamously is a New York man. Let's see, it's about David King David, as he's referred to, played by Denzel Washington, who is a high-profile record executive in New York. Runs Stray Dog Studios, I believe is the name, and has the magic ear. Can hear any track and know if it's going to be a banger or not. He's been bringing artists up, celebrating and elevating Black culture all throughout his career, but now he's looking for something different. David's looking for a change. And while everybody loves him and what he can do, this change happens to come at this point in his life where this tragedy strikes and his son, Trey, is kidnapped. And when King David's son is kidnapped, the cops come in and it turns into this whole caper, and his wife is terrified. and he's got to get him back by giving away $17.5 million of his own hard-earned money in this like hot heist exchange where he drops a bag off a train and hopefully to get his son back and get things back on track. His driver, played by Jeffrey Wright, is involved in this. He's a man of faith. His son is also tangled up in it, Kyle. And I don't know. I don't want to say too much more. Gosh, the film also stars A$AP Rocky. It also stars Ice Spice. Ilfinish Hedera is his wife. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Son Trey is played by Aubrey Joseph. It's a complicated movie, and it's most notably put out by Apple and A24, who collaborated on this to put out Spike's new film. And despite that, it's not in many theaters. And I'm looking forward to talking about why, because after having seen it, I think it becomes clear that like, while Spike is an indie darling and kind of a darling of cinema, this movie's kind of got some problems. Kind of got some problems. There's some parts of this that don't work that good. And then there's parts that work fantastic. So I'm looking forward to talking about it, deconstructing it a little bit. Andy, what'd you think of Highest to Lowest?
So I was really, really excited about this. It had all these great elements, Spike Lee, Denzel Washington, Kurosawa as well. So I was really excited to get into this, and we got about 20 minutes into the movie, and I was like, oh no, this is kind of bad. This might be terrible. Yeah. And I'm going to come in hot on this movie because it seems like everyone is really afraid to critique Spike Lee because of who he is and because he is such an incredible director and he's an institution. But I'm a nobody, so I'm happy to do it. I think that this is a bad film, and this feels like streaming slop, for lack of a better term. It feels like he got paid by Apple to, do a film by algorithm, something that you would watch in the background on a second screen. There are some good moments, and like Denzel Washington he's bringing his A game. He is fantastic in the movie, but overall, it's like it's dadcore cinema. It reminds me a lot of F1 actually, where old guy comes in, tells everyone what to do and what's what, saves the day. The script is just really weak. The crime, there's no drama. The crime is uninspired. It's never convincing when all the kidnapping happens. Like I was expecting some really elaborate like kidnapping scene or like negotiation scene, and it all just kind of feels like a TV movie where in one scene Washington is discussing like some business deal with his movie, and then the next he gets a phone call and he's like, oh no, they've got our boy. What do we do next? And it's, oh man, it's like, oh, we're just broadcasting to the audience what to do. At the same time, there are some inspired moments of he gets to monologue. There's a big kind of chase scene through trains and parade as well that were choreographed pretty well. So there are some highlights, but overall, I was like, man, this is really, really not good.
Yeah, there are parts of this. Hold on. Regarding critics coming in soft on Spike Lee, I'm a little bit one of those. I don't want to be too harsh on this because I've been convinced since I watched it, looking at reviews, that people are really warm on this movie. A lot of critics are very warm on this movie. I was watching Chris Stuckman's review on YouTube, and he does dip into a little bit some of these problems about halfway through it, but overall, he really sticks to the highs of highest to lowest. And there are highs. There are a lot of things that work really good in here. Denzel is doing fantastic work for what's here. Also, A$AP Rocky's surprisingly good. He should do more movies. Like, he's solid. My man's got aura. Spike knows how to bring that out of him, right? Jeffrey Wright is a lot of fun in here. Like, there's a lot of guest appearances. There's some really great needle drops in highest to lowest. And New York looks great, by the way. Like, and it's cool to see Denzel running around like in the subway, actually out of like a green screen set, and doing stuff out in the city. Like, that stuff is special. Like, that stuff works good. But there's also large sequences of this movie that are shot in a penthouse with a green screen back that look real bad. And it's a lot of it, Spike feels very passive. Like, it feels like he just sat back and said, all right, guys, go ahead and do the scene. We're going to roll cameras here and we're just going to cut to him whenever. And he joked I watched a couple interviews because I was trying to figure out, he joked about doing like one takes with Denzel. Like, yep, one take, that's good. And I'm like, hold on a second. Like, I know he's getting older, but like, it just feels like a lot of this, he was just kind of sitting back and letting them act it out like a play. And much of this is primarily in the kidnapping stuff, like Andy talked about. our movie sets up fine. King David arrives at his studio, like he wakes up in his office in the morning. He just signed a big deal. He talks to his wife about maybe getting out of Stray Dog and starting something new. He goes to work and has this whole exchange with a coworker there about trying to buy his shares of the company, and that's where it starts to slow down a bit. But then you go back to the house for the evening, and his son goes missing, and he gets this call off screen, and then he comes back in and tells the wife, and it quickly devolves into like a parody of like a crime movie. Like all these cops come bustling in with all this gear and, oh, we have to get set up and tap the phone lines. Oh, we couldn't trace it in time. Like really clunky. And it gets better. Like it gets moving again when the movie starts to break out and we start to deal with like taking calls for ransom and like the actual crime stuff. But like, it's weird. It's weird and it feels out of place, and it feels like it needed reshoots or needed another pass at it.
Yeah, it feels very paint by number in a lot of ways, which I hate to say. Also, Denzel is a star, but he's surrounded by a bunch of amateurs. Like no one besides like Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright always brings his A game. He's really good in this too. But everyone else just feels like a TV actor. There's a guy Aubrey Joseph who plays his son, and again, there's a lot of like these boomerisms where he's like, "Son, you need to get off that phone and stop worrying about social media." And it's like, actually, as a music executive, social media is a huge part of the business, and no, you do need to be very much, and his son plays basketball, and that's where kind of the kidnapping happens when they're at this like basketball camp, and it's just none of these relationships feel convincing. His wife doesn't feel like a real person. His son, his relationship with Jeffrey Wright does more, and that's interesting because Jeffrey Wright is clearly like an ex like felon or someone who's done prison time, and he's been given this chance. Like he's the driver / like confidant of David King. So that works. We don't get enough of our antagonist, A$AP Rocky, as a young felon. We hear him on the phone a couple times, and then we have a standoff later in the film, as you would expect. But we don't really see much of his side of the story, or like motivation as to why he's doing this, or any kind of motivations on that side. So it's just it feels like a script outline that's not quite finished.
Yeah, which is weird because it's a remake, right? Like, and that like brings in some questions of larger themes that I think are a little confusing as well. I really like the character of David King here, King David. Like, there's this great sequence early when he like arrives at his studio, and this woman's outside playing guitar for him. She's a guest actually, Jensen McCrae, who is a young artist who's really fantastic, and she sings this like hymn to him about how much she wants to be a part of the record label, and he's a literal kingmaker, like in his culture, right? And his penthouse and his work are surrounded by all of these like great arts, like paintings and tapestries and all kinds of stuff, like great color and pops, like celebrating black art and black culture. He has a conversation with his wife early in the film about donating to a prominent black youth movement or charity, which is something they do every year. And it's weird because it feels like a lot of that echoes Spike Lee's own life. Like, Spike Lee is not like quite the king of New York or anything, but like when I see Spike Lee, he's usually like in the back of an SUV with a driver, right? Like he's being like escorted around New York because like that's the kind of person he is, and he donates so much of his time to like black arts and black excellence. So like I can't help but see a bit of him in David King, right? That's like that part. They took this early Kurosawa film and then pulled it over and just dropped in this whole new setting and this whole new culture, and like that stuff works pretty good. And Lee even goes to the trouble to elevate like other young black artists in this movie, right? A$AP Rocky, Ice Spike, Jensen McCrae, like some of these other needle drops in here. Like he's very clearly putting these, like platforming these people in his film and saying, look, these are like great young artists, like that we should, be aware of. This is where the culture's headed. But then the character David King often condemns these people, and he like says, well, kid, you just don't get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you should spend less time on your phone and more time hustling and hitting the streets. And it's like, it's confusing. Like, I don't understand. Are we saying that these artists are great and they're what's next, or that they just don't get it, and that like they're never going to get it? And maybe it's worth another pass. Like, maybe I should understand it first time through, but like, it just seems a little confused. Like, the thematically odd, I think, whereas those other films seem so much more clear.
Yeah, it's thematically all over the place. I was thinking things like Black Klansman, from 2018, which we did a review on the show.
Yeah.
And that's an incredible film that has very, I don't know, just strong themes, and it's a masterwork. And then it's like David has to stop caring so much about money, but also save his business, but also it's about family or something. It's just all like, you're gonna have highs and lows in life, kid, and it's like,
Yeah.
what? And again, he reminds me of Sonny Hayes in the F1 movie of it looks like he's gonna pass the torch, and then he just passes it to himself.
Yeah.
And he's just
it's so it's a little self-indulgent. Yeah.
Yeah, and also there's a big chase scene throughout New York, and like on the subways, up and down stairs and stuff. And I'm like, Denzel Washington is like 70 or near 70. I know he's not doing any of those stunts. And again, it's like old man comes in to tell everybody what's what, and hey kid, get off that phone, and this is what real music is. It is just like, what are we doing? It's like got this fan fiction.
Yeah, it's got this boomer savior problem that, like, it's not bad. Like, again, I like David King. I like what Denzel's doing here, but like, I don't know. It's a bummer. Like, I was looking forward to Spike Lee's film. Like, this is his first contemporary movie in a minute. I know Defy Bloods had like some stuff that was set in modern day, but for the most part, like, we're in a totally different setting, right? We're having flashbacks to Vietnam and stuff. Klansman was a period picture. Like, that wasn't set in modern day. So I don't know, modern New York, like Empire Records kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. I think I was just overhyped. Maybe I just came in with too high of expectations. But some of that Penthouse stuff, it really doesn't work that good. Like, I think people are being soft on it. Like, some of the editing choices are very odd.
Again, it does what a lot of the streamers do, what Netflix famously does. They'll pay for the names, so that they'll pay for Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, get the big names on the marquee, and then cut corners everywhere else, on the writing, on the script, on the stars, on the supporting cast, production, and you can really see it in a lot of this. I was going to mention Ice Spice makes a cameo. She's in this for like 30 seconds, and I was like, oh, I thought because she's one of the names, like a part of the promo of the movie, and it's like she literally meets David, and then we never see her again.
I missed her.
Oh, I thought she was gonna come back.
Yeah, because I was looking for her about a third of the way through the movie. I remembered, oh yeah, she's in this somewhere. So like, let's keep an eye out. I figured her hair would be different. You were like, we got out of the theater. You asked me, no, what was she? You're like, oh, she was in the first 20 minutes. What? That was her? Like, she's barely in the damn movie. Well, like, she just happened to be walking by the set one day. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, whatever. Hey, like, I think a lot of people want to work with Spike. I am glad we got to see this in the theater. I do want to clarify, like, I while it wasn't as cinematic as maybe as I had hoped, like, it's a shame that it's not in more theaters, like, if anything, so people could see it. I don't know how many more Spike Lee movies we're getting. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting up there. And while I think this isn't his best of late, like, I did still enjoy it, I think. Like, there's parts I didn't like. I'm hoping I'll be warmer on it in the future. But any other thoughts or recommendations, Andy?
I think I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend highest to lowest?
I'm going to go with soft pass on this and save it for streaming. If you're really interested in both Spike Lee or Denzel Washington, check it out next month when it's available on Apple TV Plus. I was really pretty disappointed. Maybe it was my own fault for hyping up the stars, but I was really looking forward to it. But yeah, it's a weak script, weak themes, but strong performances from of course Denzel Washington and Jeffrey Wright. Everyone else is kind of playing second fiddle. It feels like film by algorithm, where it's like, oh, let's get some of these young musicians to get in the youth. Like that's how it feels like. Some of the production isn't convincing. So I was really pretty cold on it.
Yeah, I came out of the theater feeling pretty disappointed, and like, that's okay. Like, it happens. Like, maybe I went in with expecting something different, but like, there are just large parts of this movie that don't work that good. And like I said, I think Spike was just a bit more passive on set. I think it was just a bit more like, hey, I'm working with Denzel Washington, man. Sit back and let Denzel do his thing, right? We've done 4 movies together. Like, we have a rapport. But I think a little bit more intention would have been helpful in some of those more dramatic scenes. It comes in at the end, like it picks up for sure. But there's some dips in highest to lowest. There's some dips in quality. I think it is perfectly fine, perfectly mid Spike Lee for sure. Like, I don't think it's his best. It's not his worst. But yeah, Glad I guess got to see it. I maybe soft pass as well. Wait for streaming. No rush. Don't go out of your way. Don't go to crappy studio movie grill and see it like we did, dog. I know we don't talk about brands a lot on here, like specifically Studio Movie Grill, but dude, Studio Movie Grill sucks.
We're gonna get an anti-sponsorship.
No one's gonna whatever, dude. Yeah, we're not big enough. It's fine. If you have a local, support your waiters, I guess, at Studio Movie Grill. But like, dude, whatever. Maybe it's just not good here. Anyway, we got to talk about some upcoming trailers. We got to talk about some things that are coming out in the very near future. I'm gonna be busting in with the first one of these. Andy, what do we call this segment?
It's time for the trailer park.
So the first trailer we have is for Marty Supreme. This is the new Timothy Chalamet feature, right? He did Wonka, he did Dune, he's doing Marty Supreme. This is the new Josh Safdie film, one of those Safdie brothers, right? And this is about Marty something. I don't remember his name. I'm sure his last name is not
Mauser.
Supreme. Hauser, but he's a big Mauser. Marty Mauser is a ping pong player. That's his thing, and he lives in a time when ping pong is not that hot, but it's getting to be a thing over in Japan. So he's playing over there, and he thinks it's going to be a big deal. He's dynamic and he's interesting, but also he does not seem like somebody you'd make a biopic about. It seems to be a comedy drama. It also stars God. Who else is in this movie, Andy? Who else is in?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Odessa
Fran Drescher.
Azion. Yeah. Odessa Azion. And I wanted to point her out because she was in Until Dawn, the Until Dawn movie from a couple months ago. That's not very good, but now she's in this, so a huge jump for her.
Yeah, Tyler, the creator, who's going by his real name, Tyler Coma, I believe it is, which is exciting for those of us in movies. Like, ooh, like a musician breaking out and using their real name. A$AP Rocky couldn't be bothered. Nice to Lois. And also Kevin O'Leary, who I'm finding is a real scumbag apparently, and people kind of hate him, so that's exciting. What do you think of the trailer for Marty Supreme, Andy?
This looks pretty interesting to me. I need to look up whether or not this is a real person because it's one of those things it could be or it could be totally fake. But it's reminded me about this thing that I've heard about Christopher Nolan, that one of the things, these through lines through Christopher Nolan films is this idea of the great man theory, Oppenheimer, the Batman, or Harvey Dent, or Cobb in not Tenet. The other, but that's kind of a thing, and this reminds me of that too, because it seems like Marty Mauser is someone who wants to be big and make a huge difference and be this great man, whether it's some sort of geopolitical thing, because I know like ping pong was really big in China, and it's like chess became very political in the 60s and 70s, so it feels a bit like that. So I'm interested to see this, and again, we have Safdie versus Safdie. This is Josh Safdie's film, and his brother Benny Safdie has The Smashing Machine coming out this Christmas as well. So we'll see who wins out.
We're gonna see who gets it. I looked it up. Marty Mauser is based on a real champion table tennis player named Marty Reisman. Champion table tennis player, entertainer, and author. So yeah, I won't tell you anything about him, save for the movie, I guess. But Marty Mauser coming out this Christmas. We will definitely, more than likely, be covering this on the show. I would think we're probably both good for a Safdie film. So yeah, what's next, Andy?
It Was Just an Accident. So this was the Palme d'Or winner at this year's Cannes Film Festival, and that is the top prize, number one prize. Second place went to A Sentimental Value. I've heard a lot of buzz about this. This is from writer-director Jafar Panahi, an Iranian film, and it follows a family who is involved in a small car accident, like a fender bender, and it kind of starts a chain reaction where the person that they're in the accident with, they realize this is someone who was a guard and who captured and tortured me, maybe. But it's kind of dark material, but it's a question of, I think that's the guy, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm confident enough to like kidnap him, but I don't know if it's actually the guy. So it's one of these very tough moral dilemmas, and it's supposed to be an amazing film. It's not out until October, November. It's going to be a big awards contender, probably the entry for Best International Feature. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Zach, what do you think?
I think this movie looks awesome. It was just an accident. Looks like one of those indie darlings that comes out of a place you would never expect to see, like a really incredible piece of art, and comes from people who all elevate it and say, this is something truly special. It looks like a boiling pot of a movie, right? Like it looks like a powder keg just waiting to explode. And as you watch the trailers, things start to escalate one after another and end up getting from a small fender bender of traffic to like a man bound and gagged to a tree in the desert by the end of the movie, or by the end of the trailer. Like there's a clear escalation of problems, and this title inciting, hey, none of this meant to go the way it's been going, is exciting, right? Like I'm looking forward to it. I think this movie looks really cool. Hoping we can catch it in theaters October 15th when it comes out, or near that at least. We got to talk about the trailer for Keeper. Oh my gosh, I'm taking this one. This is that new Oz Perkins joint, right? He did Long Legs. He did The Black Coat's Daughter. He did The Monkey, not in that order. It's Oz Perkins, and his new movie is Keeper. This looks to be another divisive cabin in the woods story, starring Tatiana Maslany and Rossif Sutherland, who I don't know, but might be related to Kiefer Sutherland, as a couple in the woods who are staying in a cabin when then a dark, sinister presence shows up, and they have to uncover the thing and hopefully make it out alive. The trailer looks to be pointing at one another. It's split into two parts. It reminds me of Long Legs and Monkey marketing, right? Like very oddly shaped trailers. The first half of the trailer is from Tatiana Maslany's point of view, a little bit of monologue about her partner there, and why do things always have to end? She says, and a little bit of drama, a little bit of action, a little bit of violence. Then it cuts to his side, right? Malcolm is his character, and it's kind of the same series of events, but from his point of view, right? Like we have a split trailer right down the middle. Clever, interesting. I'm going to be honest. I liked Long Legs. I liked The Monkey. I'm looking forward to Keeper. I feel like a lot of people didn't, and that's a bummer, but I don't know, man. I think it looks kind of fun, albeit definitely like a couple cabin in the woods movie. It's very together, right? It's very God, as soon as you sent me this, I said it was some. I had some brilliant line, some brilliant zinger about what this was. It's between presence and together. Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think of the trailer for Keeper, Andy?
I'm going to say if you're a couple, don't rent a cabin in the woods. It seems to always end poorly on. It definitely reminds me of Together, because again, it's a couple going away for a weekend. They seem to maybe be dealing with some problems. This trailer is pretty spooky because, like Zach said, we get both perspectives, the wife and the husband, and they're both like, yeah, why does everything have to end? But they also, by the end, they're like, he's a keeper, she's a keeper. But another element is that apparently they're on like some cursed land, because there's also some snapshots of old, like 100 years before, 200 years before, where bad things have happened on the kind of this place that they're in, also dealing with relationships. This looks real spooky, and it's got a November release date. I'm like, that's right there in that awards window. So it's purposely missing the October scary season, so it might be a little bit maybe more than the Monkey or even Long Legs, but I'm excited for it. I'm a fan of Oz Perkins. A lot of people aren't.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of Tatiana Maslany. I didn't catch a lot of She-Hulk, but like I'm glad she's doing something like outside of that, right? She was She-Hulk, right? I'm talking about the right person?
Yes.
I think
yes.
Also, I was right, by the way. Rossif Sutherland, he's one of those no good Sutherlands. He's Donald Sutherland's kid, all right? I guess one of his, I don't know how many kids Donald Sutherland has, but yeah, he's one of those no good Nepo babies. So go see him in Keeper, I guess. He's doing something small, an indie project. So there. One more. What do you got, Andy?
We have Ballad of a Small Player. So this is the latest film from Edward Berger, who, of course, had a huge hit last year with Conclave, which was nominated for a bunch of awards. A couple years before that, he did All Quiet on the Western Front. He's one of these up-and-coming directors that I'm going to be excited for everything he does, because he's had 2 back-to-back hits, really great films. Ballad of a Small Player stars Colin Farrell as a gambler, a professional gambler, but whose debts are out of control, I'm sure. He absconds to Macau in southern China to play, and he meets someone that is kind of his equal. And it at first I thought this took place in Vegas, and I had to look it up and realize it was in Macau. But like a lot of Vegas movies, he's like drinking a lot. He's in his hotel room's trashed. It's kind of stereotypical in that way, but it looks really amazing. The city looks good, and Edward Berger just has such an eye behind the camera. It looks really interesting. It also stars Tilda Swinton. This comes out in October 29th. Also supposed to be an awards contender. This is a straight to Netflix one, though. I think it's going to have a small theatrical release, but because it's at Edward Berger and Colin Farrell, I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, I had kind of brushed this off because I saw it had a Netflix. It was a Netflix feature, and I guess the title "Small Player" just kind of had me thinking, oh, it wasn't anything too big. And then Andy shared it and said, "Hey, this is the new Edward Berger movie," and I was like, "Oh." Like, oh, hey, yo, that's a big deal. Like, I want to see what he's doing next. This looks awesome. This looks really cool. Hyper realistic, big saturated colors. Yeah, I thought it was Vegas as well. Mostly because it's got a bit of that Leaving Las Vegas vibe, right? Like things are going poorly for our lead, and it seems like they're going to get worse. And he's probably abusing substances and himself along the way. Just kind of a spiral downward, right? Like into chaos. Looks like a lot of fun. Colin Farrell rocks. This seems like a layup. And who doesn't love a good card movie? You know what I mean? Gets all tense around the table. What cards do they have? I got better cards. Like, I don't know.
It definitely reminded me of the card counter.
Yes. Yeah. Rounders or something, right? Yeah. Like solid. I can get into that. And yeah, it just looks like big visuals. Netflix might have bagged a winner. Might be a good one. We'll have to see.
That's when they spend the money is near award season. So their October, November, December releases are usually when you get a little bit better films.
Yeah. Like I said, I like the humble title, Ballad of a Small Player. I would have had no idea it was Colin Farrell, Edward Berger joint. Like if we hadn't talked about it right here on the podcast, you would have missed it. We got one more movie. No, we don't have. We got one more show to talk about, actually, in a rare appearance with a TV corner. Andy's going to be taking the somewhere on this one. Do you want to talk about why we picked this at all? Or you just want to jump into it? I guess we should just jump into it, right? We can talk about. I think people get why we're talking about it.
Sure. I mean, mostly because August is light on films as it's the end of the summer, and there's some exciting TV coming up. And Alien, the franchise, this is their first TV outing, so we thought we'd watch everything lined up. Basically, the first 2 episodes came out last week, so it's a perfect time to talk about. Makes things easier on us to be able to watch at home.
Yeah. Well, I got everything prepped over here, so please, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Alien Earth. So this is the much anticipated Alien TV series from showrunner Noah Hawley, who of course did the Fargo TV series and Legion before that, has made some great TV. So people have been talking about this show a lot. Some podcasters, reviewers that I listened to got to see the first episode at Comic-Con and were raving about it. So let me get into our story. So we open on the USS Maginot, a spaceship in deep space, very alien, where our team of astronauts, they're coming out of hypersleep, and they're discussing just kind of the state of things, and they're near Saturn, so they still got a ways to go. They're just coming out for a day or two out of hypersleep, and they're on an intergalactic zoo, basically, and we see all these specimens on their ship, including the famous alien face hugger, which appears to be dead. Is it? Is it not? We don't really know. And we have our usual space truckers and scientists corralling, fellowshipping, getting along, kind of not getting along at the same time. And then this ship inevitably, of course, crash lands on Earth with very few survivors, and it crash lands on the property of a company called Prodigy, which is new to the alien universe. It's led by Boy Cavalier, the world's youngest trillionaire, who's definitely suffering from Peter Pan syndrome. And this is the real story: is Prodigy has developed this technology to transport a human mind into an android body. And the very first thing we learn on the show, there's a slate that there's 3 types of kind of AI that are in combat with each other. There's cyborgs, which we're all familiar with, and enhanced human. There are the synthetics of the alien universe. This is the androids, people like Ash in the first Alien, or David in Alien Covenant and Prometheus. And then this new kind are hybrids, which are, again, a human mind in an android body. And this is led by the main star of this series, played by Sydney Chandler, Wendy. Wendy is a 12-year-old girl dying of cancer whose mind is transported into the body of Sydney Chandler, who's a grown-up, an adult. And so you have this weird 12-year-old's mind in an adult body, And there are several of these kids who undergo this procedure. They are the Lost Boys, and they are sent on a mission to investigate this crash, help the rescuers, and that's our setup. So the main focus of the show is not the alien as much as what is the future of humanity as we start to enhance ourselves. And we're seeing this even in today's world, but what happens when we can go even further? Will we lose our humanity? What will it mean to be human when we achieve certain levels of technologies? So I'm mostly just going to talk about the first episode, but that's our big setup. A lot to take in. Zach, what do you think?
So I was really pleasantly surprised by Alien Earth, and I think a lot of critics have been, right? Because it seems like such a narrow idea. Oh, we're going to take this property and just turn it into 8 episodes, right? Throw it on one of the streamers, make it something. Like, it seems like just it would be some kind of cash in, whatever, right? We're making an Alien series. But Noah Hawley brings over a lot of experience from FX's Fargo and FX's Legion. He's working with FX again here on Alien. And he most importantly brings in a lot of work with Ridley Scott, who helped produce this. They had started putting this together in like 2019. It was supposed to shoot way earlier than it did, and then COVID slowed it down, and then it had more troubleshooting because of the writer's strikes. So it's been a slog to get Alien Earth made, which is all to say that the first episode is surprisingly good. It is very good, in my opinion. I think it's a really solid pilot. Episode 2, I think, is not quite as tight, but it's not directed by Hawley. It's a different director. So I think that's just some stylistic choices. The setup here, though, like Andy said, is very explicit. The alien is not the big kind of problem here. It's the advancement of humanity and how capitalism has turned the Earth into 4 companies, I think they said, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
A lot of this is echoed in how our soldiers, our rescue people here, even our characters, Wendy and the Lost Boys, are treated. They are commodities. Their consciousness is real, but your body is a product that is owned and sold by a corporation. And all of this is in the effort of discovering what's next and taking the next technological advancement. It's got a lot of really complex themes there. And then on top of that, you get you get our character Wendy looking for her family member, and you get this crash ship into the middle of this huge city, and it's in this building that's going to collapse, and you got this rescue squad, you got friends, and all that's running over the surface of all that. And then the icing on the cake is the alien. And Hawley really understands this, because if you're making an Alien series, your audience has already seen 6 of these movies. How do you make it tense? How do you make it exciting when we all know what the monster looks like, how the monster acts, what the monster does? He gives us the monster in the opening minutes of the pilot. You get the monster. I think you get to look at a xenomorph within 10 minutes. And then it pulls back and says, hey, that's not the real danger. That's not the real threat. That's not the real drama of this show. This is going to be the monster at the top of an already well-produced horror series. It's good. It's clever. That's exactly how you should do it, right? Like any good horror movie, you want your movie to be good before the monster shows up. The monster just happens to be personification of evil, whatever. I'm talking too much. What do you think, Andy?
Well, I wanted to talk about this concept that I've heard lately online called Surf Dracula. Have you heard about this?
I saw a meme today with Surf Dracula. What the hell is Surf Dracula?
So this is relevant, I promise. Surf Dracula was this post that said, in older TV shows, a show called Surf Dracula would have Dracula surfing every week. Every episode, Dracula would be on the waves. In modern shows, it would be Dracula would take 7 episodes to get a surfboard, and then he would surf in the last 5 minutes of the last episode.
Yeah, right.
So this is a great concept. And what's great about this is that it is totally Surf Dracula, but you see it's old school where, again, we see the alien in the first episode, in the first 2 episodes. He's not trying to hide it from us. That's what a lot of shows would do. They would bring out the alien at the very last thing after an 8-episode build-up. But it's asking very different questions. I also wanted to highlight of our cast, Timothy Olyphant is in this as he plays a synthetic, an android named Kirsch, and he kind of oversees the Lost Boys because they are children essentially, but he also sees them as inferior, and we see this throughout the Alien series where the humans view the androids as inferior and vice versa. He has this great speech where he said, you used to be food. Actually, you still are food. You just stopped calling yourself that. And he kind of thinks that these hybrids are basically better than humanity or will ascend. Kind of, he's like, you will be more robot. And so we get people that are, will they become more human? or will they become more robot? We also have Alex Lawther, who plays Herman. He's Sydney's brother, who she's also kind of trying to look after. Samuel Blanken, who plays Boy Cavalier, in this fascinating, young tech trillionaire that's really annoying and also feels very much of the time. So it's a great cast, but I'm definitely enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at how well the Peter Pan scheme works. When we meet Wendy for the first time, she's starting to kind of do this synthetic transition, and they do this really great sequence where Boy Cavalier shows up and snaps his fingers, and on this projector screen above her plays Disney's Peter Pan, which is surreal to watch. Like you've probably seen the meme of Sydney Chandler's face opposite Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. That's been a thing this last week. It's a frame in this movie. It's a lot of cross dissolves stylistically, I think for good reasons. It's weird to see Disney just stick children's properties in here, because there was a time they never would have done this, dog. You would never see Peter Pan in an Alien project, and now here it is, right? Not only that, but it's a core feature. FX is owned by Disney, so that's the reason they're getting away with this. But Hawley writing this part in with these kids that are being turned into synthetics that now not only are stronger, but technically are under less bodily threat by the aliens because they're not real, is interesting. They are kind of super soldiers, but they're immature and stunted, and they're complex and have problems. This plays great opposite Timothy Olyphant, who is so menacingly stiff. He looks like he's about to explode at any moment. He looks like he's about to rip somebody's head off. He looks like he's about to go absolutely crazy. He's got this crazy white hair. And he's kind of ordering them around. Yeah, you get your rescue soldiers who are all human as far as we know. There's a cyborg character who has this morphing arm thing. So the world of Alien is so already grown and ballooned out from what we know going into it, because Hawley brings in all of these new elements. Yeah, this Boy Cavalier character, this idea of the Lost Boys, right? They call them very directly Wendy. It's charming and it's familiar to an audience who would not be familiar with Peter Pan and Alien going together. And somehow it manages to work and weave in something clever. Episode 2 goes to some interesting places as well. We start to move up into our building a little bit. There's a Renaissance party at one point that's really rad. It's silly, but what a great reason to have a bunch of violence about a bunch of people with powdered wigs and face paint. You know what I mean? Sure, why not? It seems creatively fruitful for what's happening here, and that's so meaningful, because it could have just been 8 space truckers on a ship for 9 episodes. Like Andy said, you see the alien once at the end of every episode. You got another one. What are we going to do? It could have been so much smaller, and it's so much grander in scope than I expected.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And I went back and rewatched the first 2 episodes twice, just so, because there's a lot in here, and I really appreciated the second time. There's a lot of questions that it's raising that I think we'll find out later. For instance, Wendy, I keep wanting to say Sydney because that's Sydney Chandler. Wendy keeps hearing this high-pitched buzz, and we don't really know why. And there's some questions about you get her backstory of her being young with her brother, but there's some questions. There's some questions about the survivors of the ship, because again, there's always some shady Weyland-Yutani person who's there for the buck every time. There's a lot of questions that are continuing to be raised, so I'm excited to see how that will play out. I also wanted to highlight Sydney Chandler, who's the daughter of Kyle Chandler, who's also a famed TV actor. And she's phenomenal in this role, because, again, she has to be this kind of very naive, young, she's playing a 12-year-old person, but in a 19, 20-year-old's body, who it's just, and the way she has to act, and a lot of physical acting in this kind of, again, it's a Peter Pan thing. It's really good. And she's, the main character. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Really quick before we wrap up, I wanted to highlight the other theme I really like running in this, which is capitalism, right? And the horrors of a technocrat future. I love that when the ship wrecks into the building, the area that the rescue survivors have to go to get into the ship, they have to pass through the building and go through this, there's all the sparks falling, and there's a wall blown out. It's like a shopping mall. They're selling clothes, and there's models with fits on and big screens. And like the world we've seen is basically poverty stricken. Like it just seems like nobody would be able to afford anything like this. And yet like these big companies are still selling products and doing advertising just like anything else to all of these people in these areas who are like, like woefully poorly taken care of. Like these giant companies that run the world have no idea that a ship is about to crash into a city. They don't have any warnings. They don't have any alarm bells or anything. Like everything's strictly reactive. And I love that this world is complex, and I love that it's got problems, and like it seems a lot to tie into like where the world of Alien Romulus is. At the beginning of that movie, you see our characters like, I think they're trying to escape Earth, and they're working at like a mining colony or something. I think it's Earth, and it's not going good. Like things are bad there. And that's just a few years after this, as far as I know. So like I like it. I like that the world of Alien Earth is like complicated and interesting and tangled up, and like has problems that feel kind of relatable to where we're at right now. Like I think all of that comes in because of Hawley. Like I think all of that is him and his team bringing that in, as far as I know. It's great. It's like it's exactly like the setting something like this needs. Because then when the alien shows up, then you just got bigger problems, right? Like rather than just being about an alien is, I don't know, about something. Also, the set design's incredible. This 70s ship they got in the beginning, like that looks like it fell right out of old Alien, is like so good looking. Just great looking show.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing about the production design. Callbacks to the original films for sure. I remember I heard in an interview that Hawley said the first two films, Alien and Aliens, were kind of what they looked at the most for this, while also being inspired by the newer films as well. That's where it's more a bit Blade Runner-esque, where it's asking questions about humanity, what it means to be human, what it means to kind of be beyond human, those sorts of things.
Yeah. And it's so clever because Alien and Aliens are so tonally different. And like in the first episode, you managed to hit both. You managed to get like the quiet, smoky rooms of like these padded 70s walls and this like a spaceship where they're trucking aliens back to Earth. And then you get like the Space Marines and like guys with helmets on and blasters, right? Running around and like headbands and bandanas and goofy shit. Like really outstanding. Any other thoughts or recommendations?
I think I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend Alien Earth?
Yeah, I really would, especially if you're an Alien fan. I think you're going to like it. First two episodes are out now, but we have good performances, interesting questions about what it means to be human. These themes get brought up, but we get plenty of alien stuff. We got face huggers, the xenomorph itself, spaceship stuff, espionage, betrayal, all that good stuff. It's definitely a very mature show, lots of violence. So highly recommend. Probably not for the kids.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. First episode's really great, very cinematic, feels a lot like the films. Second episode, not as good, but I'm curious to see where it's going. Yeah, Alien Earth, it's on Hulu. Go check it out right now. It's great. And yeah, that's Alien Earth. You have another show you want to talk about, though. You rewatched Peacemaker, right? Which I think I might have footage of. So if you can talk about it for a minute, let me see if I can get that on screen here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I rewatched the first season of Peacemaker, which came out a couple of years, maybe 3 years ago, which followed the events of the Suicide Squad. That in that first season, we see Peacemaker played by John Cena. He's hospitalized after the events of that film. He escapes and is eventually picked up by a black ops team led by Amanda Waller, or one of those kind of shady organizations that we have in the DC universe. He's conscripted to come help with this mission called Project Butterfly, which we eventually learn are these kind of bug-like aliens that are taking over people's body and have a plan to take over the world. And this is very much like an independent, standalone thing, which I think was a very smart thing for James Gunn to do. That's our main setup. I don't want to get too much into it, other than to say the show is really funny. I mean, within the first 5 minutes, I'm like laughing my head off. It is hilarious. It's also very sweet and very touching. It deals with John Cena's character dealing with a lot of childhood trauma, with kind of dealing with this idea that he doesn't really want to be a killer anymore, because he has this funny vow that's like, I'm going to kill as many men, women, and children as it takes to get peace, or to achieve peace. And he kind of doesn't feel like that by the end of the show. And it's also about found family, the way a lot of James Gunn stuff is. The 11th Street Kids, which is the name of like their Black Ops team, they don't get along at first. They butt heads a lot. They eventually learn to work together, and it's really sweet, and it's really funny along the way. and I brought all that up because Peacemaker season 2 starts this week, this Thursday, and that's going to follow. This is a delicate balance because Peacemaker, the first season, is part of the DCEU, and this is about part of the new DCU. And so, how do we kind of put these together? Luckily, like I said, James Gunn largely did this as an independent project, so there's not too much hangover. I think there's going to be some kind of multiverse or some kind of extra dimensional thing to kind of tie up any loose ends. But the big kind of storyline is not Frank Grillo, Rick Flag Sr., who we saw in Superman. He's one of the government guys. He comes after Peacemaker in season 2 because Peacemaker killed his son in the Suicide Squad. So they kept some of these things canon without specifically a lot like you do in comic books. You're like, yes, that totally happened. But that's going to be the big plot line is Rick Flag Sr. coming after Peacemaker. That's mainly the setup. I actually haven't watched the trailer because I just want to watch the show, and it's really funny. Did you watch Peacemaker, the original?
I did. Season? I actually rewatched the first episode a couple weeks ago, but it was one of those like on my phone doing laundry sort of rewatches, not like a dedicated like I'm actually going to watch, just kind of like throwing it on in the background. I saw a great run the other day. Somebody listed the best, it was Variety or somebody listed the best WWE actors. And they had Batista first, right? And then they said like Dave Batista as best actor coming out of WWE, followed by The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and then Cena at spot number 3. Putting Rock before Cena, questionable. And it's questionable largely to me because of Peacemaker. I can't believe how much I like this show, and I can't believe how good Cena is in it. I don't know anybody else that could do it. I don't know anybody else that could do this role. Like he's kind of like it's like he was made in a mold to be Peacemaker. Like he's this goofy, hugely muscular guy who is so dedicated to his vision and is such an idiot. And wears a goofy outfit and everybody around him knows it and tells him, and he's like, well, you're all stupid, whatever. Like I'm here for peace. Like he's great. He's running around in his underwear and he manages to be dramatic and funny. And even by the end of the show, emotional. Like Cena is really fantastic in Peacemaker. And I think season 2, I hope, is just as much fun. Like I remember being really surprised at how much I liked Peacemaker. Peacemaker was one we pointed out a lot when people talked about whether or not Superman was going to be good. It's like James Gunn can't miss. Peacemaker was a banger. Peacemaker's great. Creature Commandos was great, right? His Suicide Squad is great. Like he seems to be doing something here that's really special with this character and with these characters. And yeah, there's a bit of hangover into the old DC universe, but like I don't know. I'm not even sure. They'll probably address it, right, for comic book fans, but like as far as the movies go, you could totally just move right past it, and I think it'd be fine.
I've been watching the podcast that they actually just recently came out on, where they discussed every episode of Peacemaker, and they talked about in each episode what is and isn't canon, and it largely like 90% of it was still continuous, canon continuity, and there were just a couple of things they were gonna maybe have to address. But I think most people it's just like whatever, just watch the show. But it is so funny, and it's a good group of misfits because they have Adebayo, which is played by the great Daniel Brooks, who's really funny. She's just kind of needs a job, and she's joining this, and she doesn't really fit in. She doesn't want to kill people. She just kind of hates everything about it. James Gunn's wife, Jennifer Holland, is also in it. She's kind of a tough. She's just a jerk on the show. She hates everyone. Everything sucks, but she kind of softens over the show. Steve Agee plays John Economos, another one of the guys behind the computers, but who's also really fun. So it's a great ensemble film with a bunch of misfits, largely by lesser known actor. And it just works so well.
Yeah, like Gunn really managed to get a lot out of it. Really cool show, worth watching, I think. Did you listen to the companion podcast? I know they've been doing one.
Yeah. They just, like I said, they just released it about a month ago, so you had to really catch it. But that's been interesting to just because it was James Gunn and company, and they were talking about each episode, how they wrote it, how they dealt with some of the like action scenes and things like that, talking about the different motivations. And one of the subplots in Peacemaker season 1 is him dealing with his father, played by the great Robert Patrick, who's the T-1000 in Terminator 2.
Yeah, silver Terminator that melts. That guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
But his father is like this big white supremacist and an antagonist that he has to face off against, as well as the big alien invasion thing. And that's very interesting, a subplot as well. But man, yeah, it's been a lot of fun rewatching, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I think we've talked about it in the past, but would recommend.
Yeah, huge recommend. It's really funny. Even if you're not into superhero stuff, like you'll laugh a minute. It doesn't get much into the lore. I mean, it could easily just be like a cop drama in that way. We have one more thing that I just want to mention real quick. Fallout Season 2 comes out December 17th, and we just saw the trailer today, just came out today. And this looks awesome. I'm so excited. That was one of my favorite shows from a couple years ago. Stars Ella Purnell as not Lucy Fallout, Lucy McLean. She's the protagonist. She escapes the vault and have to go on a mission to find her father. And we also meet the ghoul, played by
Walton Goggins, baby.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
The great Walton Goggins, who everyone was strangely attracted to in this film. But they've teamed at the end of the first season. They've teamed up and they're off to New Vegas to go again, find her father, ask some tough questions. There's also the Brotherhood of, what are they?
Brotherhood of Steel.
Thank you, Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah.
Who's an important character in the first season. This looks so good, and I really enjoyed the first season. If you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon Prime. I highly recommend that too.
Yeah, Fallout's a great time. I played a lot of the games. Really enjoyed I was really skeptical on the first season, and it started coming out, and people were like, "No, it's really great," and ended up just burning through it. Like, tons of fun. I'm looking forward to it, but the reason they're going to Las Vegas is because the second most successful game in the franchise is Fallout New Vegas, which is great and all. But like, man, part of what makes this series so great is there's so much rich opportunity for storytelling in the wasteland. Like, it's such a great setting, and there's so much opportunity to tell stories that are morbid and messed up, or like hopeful and endearing. Like, there's so many places to go. I really hope Amazon doesn't do this thing where they just follow 3 or 4 games, then be like, that's it, that's the show. Like, no, dude, you can do anything in the Fallout universe. Why go to Vegas, for God's sake? You can go anywhere, like, what? You can do anything. Like, you can go anywhere cool. So I don't know. Like, I'm looking forward to it. Don't be stuck on this video game thing, though. For God's sake, keep it moving. You can go anywhere here. You can take these characters anywhere. Sky's the limit. Don't get wrapped up in some video game thing. But otherwise, Fallout looks great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What are we watching next week? That's the show, right? I think we got it. A whole lot of TV in the back end. We did it.
That's right. Yeah. Next week we're going to be watching Honey Don't, which comes out this Friday, August 22nd. This stars Margaret Qualley as a detective investigator of some sort. She's investigating an accident and a murder. It's a whodunit. Also stars Aubrey Plaza and Chris Evans. This looks really funny. This is something that we've seen before, or seen the trailers for. It looks just entertaining and comedic. Margaret Qualley never does bad work, so looking forward to that. And then it's TBD. We're gonna look for something maybe on streaming, maybe another theatrical. We'll see. Some FYI releases. The rom-com Splitsville comes out this Friday as well. That stars Adria Arjona, Dakota Johnson, and more that I can't remember. And if you can catch it, Nudja 2, which we've talked a lot about on this show, the English dubbed version is finally out, probably just this weekend, or maybe for 1 week. That's out this Friday. Highly recommend you to catch that. Maybe take the kids. It's a little long, but it's an incredible animated experience. And again, Peacemaker season 2 starts this Thursday, August 21st.
Yeah, things might be slowing down a little bit at the movies, but not here on Off Script. So if you like what we're doing, best thing to do is you can just subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to Off Script on your favorite platform of choice. YouTube, we got a lot of things going on over there. We're posting individual reviews, got fancy thumbnails, got shorts over on YouTube. So go check us out over there. Like, comment, rate, review, subscribe. Any engagement at all helps us more than you know. Like anything, you just hitting that like button helps a ton. Notify if you're interested in that. We can let you know when we got new episodes coming out every Tuesday. Let's see, our audio listeners, you can find us on Spotify, Google Play, iHeartMedia, and iTunes, of course. Love our audio listeners. Our website is Mail Off Script Film Review. You can email us correspondence directly, you to us, at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all your social media places. Come give us a follow and let us know what you thought of Highest to Lowest and Alien Earth and Peacemaker and Fallout Season 2. Keep us posted, all right? Come be a part of what we're doing. We really appreciate it. And yeah, that's Off Script, episode 304, right? Do I have that right? Episode 304? Boy, oh boy. From all of us at Off Script, the home of Bolt Cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.